Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, a familiar face returns to the 66th Assembly District. We'll have reaction from newly elected Assemblyman Al Muratsuchi. Plus, it's one of the last helicopters of its kind in the United States, and we'll tell you what it's doing in Torrance. Then it was a one-of-a-kind cultural experience at the Metsua Marketplace recently, and hundreds of water-conserving Torrance residents waited in line at a sold-out event. We'll tell you why. These stories and much more are just seconds away. Your local news starts right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. My co-anchor Jen Chun has the week off. Thanks so much for joining us. Here are your top stories. And elections sure to be remembered in the history books. Here in California, voters came out by the millions to take part. The Los Angeles County Registrar, Recorder, County Clerk's Office reported 2,306,321 ballots were processed and counted for this year. While the numbers won't be made official until next month, that's nearly 45% of the eligible registered voters who headed to the polls. In 2012, official voter numbers showed that on election night, a total of more than 2 million voters placed a ballot, while there were more than 4 million registered voters in LA County. In early December, the office will certify the election results, and the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors will declare the official numbers. You can stay up to date at lavote.net. Along with selecting a new president, voters in California were also busy making decisions on 17 statewide propositions. It was the most number of state measures to appear on a ballot in 16 years. Some more controversial than others, like Prop 56, which passed by a landslide with a nearly 63% of the vote to raise taxes on cigarettes and tobacco products. Proposition 57 also passed, which will allow new parole rules for nonviolent felons. Californians also voted to legalize recreational use marijuana for adults 21 and over with Proposition 64. Nearly 63% of voters asked for stricter rules on gun and ammunition control, and two of the measures that were specific for Los Angeles County included Measure A and Measure M, which both passed with the majority voting yes. Measure M, which needed a two-thirds approval, will allow Los Angeles County Traffic Improvement Plan through a half-cent sales tax and continue the existing half-cent traffic relief tax. It will go towards improving various road and metro projects, including the extension of the Green Line to Crenshaw Boulevard in Torrance, where the new transit center is currently being built. You can go to vote.sos.ca.gov for the latest updates on election results. Well, the returns also showed huge winnings for South Bay candidates running in the congressional races. Representative Ted Lieu of the 33rd Congressional District brought in 66% of the votes against Kenneth Wright, while Representative and incumbent candidate Maxine Waters brought in a large win over her opponent with nearly 76% of the votes. This will be her 14th term representing the 43rd Congressional District. Another seat up for grabs this year was the one to replace outgoing Los Angeles County Supervisor Don Knabe, who represented the 4th District. U.S. Representative Janice Hahn and Steve Napolitano went head-to-head, with Hahn winning by 56%. The district includes Torrance, along with 26 other cities and unincorporated areas. California's 66th State Assembly District will soon welcome back a familiar face. Al Muratsuchi once held the post 2 years ago. He won back the seat from incumbent David Hadley with 53% of the votes. Muratsuchi will once again represent communities throughout the South Bay, from Torrance to Rolling Hills Estates to unincorporated communities of El Camino Village and West Carson. Reporter Julie Chen caught up with him at his election watch party and has more on what he plans to work on.
I'm going to keep standing up for the community and getting things done for the South Bay, fighting for jobs, for good schools, safe neighborhoods, and a clean and healthy environment.
Muratsuchi was one of 3 assembly candidates endorsed by President Obama. A generation of voters were often talked about this election season: millennials, who are defined as young adults between the ages of 18 to 35. They accounted for nearly 69 million votes, and according to Pew Research Center, that's nearly as many voting age citizens as the baby boomer generation. And here in Torrance, El Camino College is swarming with millennials who can't wait to have their voices heard. Reporter Jerisa Blunt tells us more.
Ashley Poe is a 22-year-old student at El Camino College. She's majoring in communication studies, and while she is still searching for the right career path, right now she is definitely sure about one thing.
I will be voting for this election because a lot of people think their voice doesn't matter, but if enough people come together, our voice really does matter, and I just want my voice to be heard.
Poe isn't alone in feeling the importance of voting this year.
So I'm 18 years old. I think it's really important for us to hear our voices, to be heard, because politicians, they're going to go out and do whatever they want to do unless we speak up.
Poe also says some of the propositions hit close to home. In particular, Proposition 61, which could change how California residents pay for prescription drugs.
That sticks out to me mostly because my parents, they're older too, and they're getting to where they're not invincible anymore.
I do have a small nephew who actually he has cancer, so his medication costs a lot already, and I feel like with that one, if they raise the prices, my brother is going to struggle a lot more.
Millennials make up almost 31% of eligible voters in the U.S. The youngest millennial will be voting for the very first time this year. Professor Angela Cranon-Charles has been teaching for 18 years. She's noticed a change with this generation of voters.
Then we're looking at students now that are not just coming straight from high school, but are actually having jobs, paying rent, buying cars. So now they realize that the decision that they make on which candidate gets into office may determine if they pay more taxes, if they have a job or not.
Even though some political experts predict that millennials will not show up at the polls, students right here at El Camino College seem to know the value of their vote. For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Jerisa Blunt.
Thanks, Jerisa. Well, the elections have also played a huge role at local high schools as many students headed to the polls for the first time. And at North High School, seniors learning about U.S. government got more than just textbook lessons. Torrance CitiCABLE reporter Hiba Sabed tells us more.
Chapter 6, so we're rolling into voters and voter behavior.
For Mrs. Doreen Nielsen, teaching her high school seniors about the election process and government class has been a unique experience.
It's always exciting when you can, talk about something that's happening right now instead of looking at, what was.
They're all still buying it.
Lightening the mood with Saturday Night Live clips to mock elections and creating political ads.
Don't look at my email.
These have been few of the projects Nielsen and many other government teachers at North High have been challenging students with in hopes they make informed decisions.
The kids really do have points of view. I mean, obviously they're influenced by their parents greatly at this age, but they're starting to ask questions, and I challenge them a little bit on some of the issues. So that's been fun. And we just started at the beginning. It's like, what is a job description for a president?
And with many of the students deciding where they fit on the political spectrum one day, for some of the students, the time is now to cast their ballot.
We're learning about perspective and bias, and that, you might live in Southern California in an urban area where everybody generally comes from the same perspective, but then if you're from Ohio or Wisconsin, people see things very differently, and some of them those are real head-scratcher things for those kids, and so they're learning, to sort of understand from where these people come.
Despite the media highlighting the competitive tension between the top two presidential candidates, Nielsen has pushed her students to focus more on the issues they stand for rather than this.
Just join the debate by saying more crazy things. Now, let me say
there's nothing crazy about not letting our companies.
Some of them are scared to death. Some of them think it's funny. Some of them get really angry.
18-year-old Eric Hayes is voting for the first time and has learned a lot about how his vote will make an impact.
You have to realize that your vote can go towards somebody that you might or might not want in the long run. So you have to really pay attention to their counter arguments or what they really want to focus on.
Already with the candidate in mind, Hayes is now just counting the hours to take part in making history.
It's kind of exciting because I can finally vote for somebody and actually have a choice and a voice on my own opinion on who should be president.
But Ayanna Barnett, who is not old enough to vote just yet, says her government class has given her an opportunity to take part in the conversation.
I really like her class because we get to speak on how we feel.
A journey of learning that has also been an eye-opener.
Now that I'm older, it's kind of actually getting scarier, finding out what some of these candidates are talking about and finding out who America is actually electing to run this country is kind of scary.
And after nearly a semester of lessons and conversations, Nielsen hopes all of her students will walk away with a sparked interest in utilizing their First Amendment right.
I just want them to be informed voters when they get out, and I want them to stay involved and vote for the rest of their life, be part of the process.
For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Hiba Samad.
Thanks, Hiba. $44 million was approved by the Metropolitan Water District's Board of Directors to help fund water recycling projects that will make an impact here in Torrance and across Los Angeles County. The Metropolitan Water District's Board of Directors recently voted to approve funding under its Local Resources Project program. 2 of the 4 water recycling projects will directly impact Torrance. The programs will treat and deliver nearly 5.3 billion gallons of water a year. The City of Torrance plans to partner with the Eastern Municipal Water District for a large-scale water recycling project. Chuck Scheich, Senior Water Analyst for the City of Torrance, says one of the projects, called the Groundwater Reliability Improvement, will produce additional drinking water. This project, along with another one, will help the district to be 100% reliant on local supply sources for groundwater replenishment in local groundwater basins. In addition, the GRIP project will help drought-proof the water source. The Metropolitan Water District will provide $44 million in incentives for the various projects over the next 25 years. The water will be used by Los Angeles, Torrance, and the city of Paris. And speaking of water, as the state of California enters its 6th year in a drought, residents in Torrance are continuing to do their part to conserve water. Reporter Jerisa Blunt shows us how.
John Billage has lived in Torrance all his life. Even though this is his first time participating in the city's rain barrel program, he thinks it's the right thing to do.
The wife sent me a message and told me what time to report here. We're going to get 2 rain barrels, or a rain barrel. But there's a big turnout today, so everybody's going to get at least 1 rain barrel.
The City of Torrance and the South Bay Environmental Services Center gave away 55-gallon rain barrels, and Billage was one of the 400 people eager to receive their barrel.
There's such a water shortage in the state of California that this is a nice promotion here, so people is more self-conscious of our water shortage here.
Students from West High School and members of the South Bay Environmental Services Center and the Old Torrance neighborhood pitched in to help with the distribution of the barrels.
I've been doing rain barrel events since the beginning, and it's so much fun. This is the best one because we have the biggest parking lot, but you can see that people are happy to receive their rain barrels. They take them home. And the worst part is installing it with your downspout. That's the hardest thing, and it's really very easy to do.
Billage looks forward to doing more than just conserving water.
Personally, it's going to be for collecting the rainwater for our little plants, our little garden, for rosemary plants, chili plants, and it makes it more personal.
This is the 6th year that California has been in a drought. The normal amount of rain would be 14 inches per year in California. The state has received less than that total in the last 2 years.
We're still in a long-term water shortage condition, and this program helps by doing that and makes people aware not only of rain barrels, but in conservation in general. It gets them engaged in that effort to conserve water on an ongoing basis.
And Torrance residents seem to get the message. The turnout was so great, some residents are on a waiting list to receive a barrel at a future distribution event. For Torrance CitiCABLE, this is Jerisa Blunt.
Thanks, Jerisa. This is the 3rd barrel distribution program in the last year and a half that the City of Torrance has hosted. As of September, California water agencies have saved 20% more water compared to 3 years ago. Well, still ahead, a beauty business expands at a new location in Torrance. Plus, performers in the arts were recognized for their commitment.
My favorite thing about music is it's reliable. It's always there.
It just helps me cheer up other people.
When you play music, you are playing life.
For another year, the Torrance Performing Arts Consortium recognized a number of South Bay community members for their dedication to the world of art. The night was filled with outstanding performances from theater to poetry at its third annual TPAC Awards. It appreciates local artists for their passion in spreading different forms of art in the community, as well as supporters of the arts. Winners in several award categories were presented with medallions. One of the highlights each year is the D. Hardison Award, which is presented by former Torrance Mayor D. Hardison. It was established in 1999 and recognizes individuals or businesses who support the arts in Torrance. This year, the award was presented posthumously to Sally Stowey, who was a director, producer, and performer. Stowey and her husband were the source of inspiration for those in the musical theater scene. This year, Mayor Patrick Fury served as the Master of Ceremonies.
TPAC, or Torrance Performing Arts Consortium, is a very important portion of the city of Torrance. All the things that it brings to our city cultural-wise. We're a very vibrant city, but arts is one of the most important things. Someone once told me art is the heart of a city.
Mayor Fury and Byron Stefferud were also recipients of the President's Award. The Making a Difference Directors Award went to Linda Dreyer of the South Bay Conservatory, and another big category included the Mercury Stage and Theater Awards, which were given to Maestro Alan Petker, Bob Minicelli, Ken Besor, Tyler Bradshaw, Cynthia Joyce, Kristen Stephenson, and Shirley Stark Wallace.
I'm very, very happy to continue my role, which I feel has been a passion and will continue to be so, to encourage as many people as possible to find out the fabulous rewards that can be gained from participating, enjoying, and seeing the works of great artists.
The Shakespeare Poetry Award went to Megan Willis and Joseph Silowitz. Congratulations to all the winners. As the holiday season nears, South Bay residents got rid of the old and are bringing in the new. One by one, locals brought in their old holiday light strings in return for new ones. The South Bay City's Council of Governments had its free holiday light exchange for 2 days. It gives people an opportunity to exchange their old electricity-guzzling holiday lights for 1 box of free new energy-efficient LEDs. In return, their old lights would be recycled.
This is a way to introduce the new technology of LEDs, which is cool to the touch.
Lyon added that the new lights can last up to 20 years. It's safer to have them inside and outside your home. They produce little heat and use 75% less electricity. The South Bay City Council of Governments offer many conservation programs and are open 5 days a week. Participants had to be a South Bay SEC or DWP customer. A rare helicopter is getting a new look at the Torrance Airport. The Lions aircraft team, along with Battleship USS Iowa Museum volunteers, have a large task ahead of them as they work on restoring this HUP-2 helicopter that is one of the last 2 in existence in the United States. They plan to refurbish the exterior and interior completely, along with assembling it together. The refurbishing will include a new transmission and piecing the helicopter properly. It took the helicopter 6 days to travel from Pennsylvania to Torrance.
This one did not fly off the Iowa, but it did fly off of other battleships. This one was actually given to the French, and then the French operated it during the Vietnam War.
It was developed by Piasecki Helicopter Corporation of Morton, Pennsylvania during the late 1940s and produced in the 50s. The helicopter was made for the U.S. Navy. It was used in the Korean War and only a few survived. After another 100 days of work, the helicopter will head to San Pedro to the battleship USS Iowa Museum. It was a night of appreciation for a local organization that always works towards improving the community.
This evening is special, not only because it gives us the opportunity to publicly thank our organization's most dedicated volunteers. It also allows us to feature different YMCA programs.
And in the crowd of people were nearly 100 volunteers who were thanked for donating their time at the Torrance South Bay YMCA during its 70th annual volunteer celebration and recognition dinner Held at the Torrance Marriott, it was a full house with nearly 300 people in attendance, which included special guests, including 120 donors. The dinner is an opportunity to recognize those who have helped make the community a better place. Local high school students also gave testimonials on youth government involvement through the Y. This year, the awards given out were for Program Service, Family of the Year, Community Partnership, Good Neighbor Award, and Service Above Self, to name a few.
The Y does a good job of promoting family life, developing leadership skills in all ages, especially youth. Of course, we know about the health and fitness part of the Y. It's been going on for 100 years. But the other part we want to add to it is social responsibility. We owe our community some effort to make us a better community.
You name it, volunteers are there, and that's what makes this country work. And so I'd like to say thank you to all of the volunteers, not only those who were honored here this evening, but volunteers everywhere. Because of you, this is a stronger country, this is a stronger state, and a stronger city.
At the Torrance South Bay YMCA, more than 1,600 volunteers generously gave their time to the Y each year. On top of the volunteer efforts, the YMCA has a growing list of programs in youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. You can visit ymcala.org for more information. As the City of Torrance works to create a float for the upcoming parade, many locals took a look back at how it all started. It was a history lesson as the Torrance Rose Float Association member Lynn Robinson talked to the community about the first Torrance Rose Float that dates back to 1914. The first float was said to have been created in the hopes of getting more people interested in real estate in the city. Since then, Torrance has had 62 float entries in 102 years of the parade's history. Now, interesting fact, between 1914 to 1947, Torrance did not have a float. Robinson shared pictures and themes of older floats and participants over the years. The tradition began with city founder Jared Sidney Torrance, who later decided to form the Tournament of Roses Association in 1895.
Since 1958, we've had a float every year but one. So it's a big part of Torrance history. It's been a struggle throughout the years for funding and to keep the float going.
And if you're wondering why there was no float in 1967, well, Robinson says the Tournament of Roses asked Torrance to give up its spot for an international float. At this event, attendees also got an opportunity to see the trophy won by the city in 1914, which is proudly displayed at the Torrance Historical Society and Museum. If you'd like to donate or get more information on how you can support the Torrance Rose Float Association, head to torrancerosefloat.org. A Torrance Beauty Clinic moves to a new location to keep up with its business growth.
1, 2, 3.
The Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce congratulates you on the grand opening of your new location, and it is indeed beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Injectability celebrated its new clinic location on Torrance Boulevard with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The booming business that features the latest and most effective non-invasive aesthetic treatments for men and women moved to the new location because it outgrew its old space on Post Avenue. Injectability has been offering its services for 2 decades, and many of its treatments are exclusive techniques patented and created by their own practitioners. Leslie Fletcher, the founder of Injectability, says the new location now will accommodate her institution where doctors from around the world can come get trained along with satisfying patients at her clinic. The business specializes in injections, and the new space has 6 injection rooms, a training facility, and a cool sculpting room.
We're very devoted to the community. A lot of my patients are from Torrance. I love to show off Torrance to international and national practitioners that fly in from all over the world and all over the country, and I love to show off Torrance and what we have to offer.
To learn more, you can visit injectabilityclinic.com. A large gaming developer renews its partnership with a local studio. Blizzard Entertainment is renewing its contract with the Hollywood Riviera Studios to provide sound stages, control room, and transmission for their 2017 Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft Championship Tour. This will also make the studios more involved in the esports industry. It will be a space for around-the-clock editing and provide international press an area to profile the esports players and winners. With over 50 million players, Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft is a free-to-play collectible card video game. Hollywood Riviera Studios is a production facility that provides various services for the entertainment community. Officials say they're looking to expand because of its growth. It was a celebration of culture, food, and beauty. The festival dance stage quickly came to life as it featured performances from Sendai, Yamagata, and Moriko cities, all in the Tohoku region of Japan, for the annual Rising Tohoku Food Fair. There were presentations of diverse food and products, and Torrance Mayor Fury was given a token of appreciation. The two-day food fair event shares the cultural diversity of Tohoku region of Japan, giving people a first-hand chance to experience the city and all that it has to offer. The Rising Tohoku Food Fair is put on by 6 cities from the region to promote tourism. Hosted at the Mitsuo Market, attendees tasted the rich flavor of food, participated in craft workshops that included origami and photo sessions with each of the city's mascots. The goal of the fair is to bring awareness to the Tohoku region, which is still recovering from the damage left by the Great East Earthquake in 2011.
The reason why we're having this event today is to show our gratitude from the Tohoku region towards America and all of the support that this country has given us, especially after the Great Tsunami and Earthquake. The reason why we're having it in Torrance at Mitsuo Marketplace is because Mitsuo Marketplace has roots in Sendai.
Last year, this event attracted more than 10,000 children and adults. The Torrance Police Department is sharing tips on what to watch out for when it comes to solicitors. Reports found that many concerned residents were calling to verify whether soliciting is legal in the city of Torrance. Authorities say it's only if the person has a business license issued by the city. They're not allowed to call or come to your door before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Here are some tips to look out for. Always acknowledge to solicitors that you're home. Talk through the door without opening it, and if someone is asking for help, offer to contact the police or paramedics for them. Always keep them outside. Get a good description of the solicitor if you suspect the suspect, if the person is soliciting illegally and does not have proper identification, and report it to the police. Call the non-emergency police line at 310-328-3456. Well, still ahead, Sports Desk anchor Byron Newsom gives us the latest on what's happening in the Torrance sports world.
Hi, I'm John Stamos. You want to play? Making music isn't about how good you are. It's a chance to discover a different side of yourself. And who am I kidding? I learned to play music to get chicks, but it's been the best thing in my life. You want to learn more? Go to wannaplaymusic.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Here's some upcoming events you should mark on your calendar. On November 16th, El Camino College is hosting its first college night event, where parents and prospective students along with community members can visit the campus to see all that it has to offer. It will start at 5:30 and go until 8:30. Check in on the first floor of the bookstore building. And the Western Museum of Flight is having a celebrity lecture with the president of Robinson Helicopters on November 19th at 11 a.m. He will talk about the company's history. Plus, the city, along with the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, is hosting a new California-friendly landscape training class on November 19th at 9 a.m. through noon. It will be at West High School's cafeteria. Make sure to register at sbesc.com. And before we go, we have a sneak peek at what's happening on the Sports Desk with Byron Newsom. Byron, what do you have for us?
Hey Ben, coming up on the Sports Desk, it's win or you're out time in high school sports. See if our local volleyball teams can rise to the top in this year's CIF playoffs. Plus, no one wants to back their way in. See if North, West, and Bishop can high-step their way into the CIF playoffs. Tune into the Sports Desk at 4 and 9:30 p.m. right here on CitiCABLE. Ben, back to you.
Thanks, Byron. Well, that does it for us on This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.